So there's been protests, widespread protests erupting in Iran, and it's for a number of reasons. I want to show you some of this dramatic footage, but we also have to understand why. Why is this happening right now? So first of all, let me show you some of this footage. As was posted here, new footage shows the Islamic Republic police forces retreating. They're retreating here in the face of the crowds, with strikes, mass chants, and expanding street presence. Today's uprising is increasingly showing the characteristics of a coordinated citywide movement, not a contained protest. Entire cities have shut down, according to Neoberg. Markets and bazaars are not only protesting the regime, but also calling on the Shah to return. As she also noted, while the regime thugs are using tear gas against citizens, one brave man crouches down and refuses to move. He's facing down a small regime army. Look at this. Wow, look at that. Refusing to move. That's iconic. Iconic stuff. And I have to say that for those of you who may think that this, is whenever you think about Iran and the people of Iran, they think so much about, how it relates to Israel and their conflicts against America. We forget signs about domestic life inside of Iran under the Iranians' authoritarian Islamic regime, because it is utter hell. And part of what has promoted these protests has actually been the economic hell that's happened as a result of predominantly sanctions, but also its own internal government policies. Also, they massively restrict internet access and therefore the flow of ideas and information. Their public services are failing, sewage, all these elements. Euronews has reported that protesters closed shops for a second day as the Iranian currency hit new lows on the free market, amplifying inflation fears, highlighting the widening gap between official and street exchange rates. Iranian traders and shopkeepers staged a second day of protests today, Monday, after the country's currency plummeted to a new record low against the US dollar. Videos on social media showed hundreds taking part in rallies in Sadi Street in downtown Tehran, as well as in the Shush neighborhood in Tehran's main Grand Bazaar, which played a crucial role in the 1979 Islamic Revolution that ousted the monarchy and brought Islamists to power. Here, have a look at this, another clip here of shopkeepers in Iran's capital taking to the streets. And what they're chanting is, "Don't be afraid, we are together." And, this is what happens when a regime causes so much misery. At some point, the people say, as risky as it is, what have our lives become right now? Traders shut their shops, according to Euronews, asked others to do the same. Many businesses and merchants stopped trading. And there were no reports of police raids, though security was tight at the protests, according to witnesses. And on Sunday, protest gatherings were limited to two major mobile markets in downtown Tehran, where the demonstrators chanted anti-government slogans. But again, a lot of this is economic. Iran's currency plunged to 1.42 million to the dollar. On Monday, it traded at 1.38. to the dollar, and 1.3 million to the dollar. Exchange rates for Iran's currency vary sharply depending on whether official or free market figures are used. On international forex platforms, the euro trades at around 49,000, a rate that reflects Iran's tightly controlled official exchange system that is largely inaccessible to ordinary Iranians. In contrast, the free market rate, commonly cited by local traders and international media, is far weaker. You have the euro trading at well over 1 million rials, that's the Iranian currency, or around, highlighting the gap between state set rates and the real value of the currency on the street amid inflation, sanctions, and capital flight. And the rapid depreciation is compounding inflationary pressure, pushing up prices of food and other daily necessities, further straining household budgets, a trend that could worsen by a gasoline price change introduced in recent days. So what could be around the corner? Hyperinflation. According to state statistics, the inflation rate in December rose to 42.2% from the same period last year, 1.8% higher than in November. Foodstuff prices rose 72%, and health and medical items were up 50% from last year. This is completely dysfunctional. And reports in official Iranian media said the government plans to increase taxes in the Iranian New Year that begins on the 21st of March. And the deal that Iran and the US were talking about, some kind of deal of lifting international sanctions in exchange for tight controls on Iran's nuclear program, it unraveled after President Trump withdrew. By the way, he gave Iran a timeline, a deadline, and they didn't stick to it. And so he commenced, Israel and America commenced the June 12-day war, which also was another big blow to the Iranian regime. And frankly, I think Israel should have been given support from America to finish off the job for both Israel and the Iranian people and for America. And yet they're having to live in more and more misery right now because the Iranian regime has not gone. By the way, I'm not talking about necessarily regime that we should dictate who the new regime is, but to at least pull the plug on the current regime, especially when it seems like, from the people I speak to, I could be wrong, but it seems like when I speak to a lot of the people, most or there's a strong section of the Iranian population that detests the regime. Now, while all this is going on, at the same time, you have Iran's president, who has just put out a statement saying that Iran is in a full-fledged war against America, Israel, and Europe. Amidst all this, that's what they're focused on. It's utterly destructive, it's deranged. But you know what the good news is? I think more and more people are waking up to this. And that's because of the beauty of the internet. It's also because the world has developed morally, despite its flaws. And we do believe there's going to be a happy ending to all of this. But it comes from first exposing the flaws in these extreme Islamic authoritarian theology. And it also comes from enlightening people, enlightening the Muslim world about how a healthy society can function and why Israel and America shouldn't be seen as deadly enemies, but actually as models for success. And certainly in the Jewish people's case, we're meant to provide them a path towards healthy morality, societal morality. You know, one of the reasons I think we're seeing this big war between the West and Islam and why the Islamic extremists are filling the vacuum in the West is because the dichotomy we're being presented is a false dichotomy. It's like you either have extremist religion on the one hand, and that gives you your meaning, or you have the vacuum of the secular West. Israel's job, which is placed geographically between East and West, between the Arab world and the Western world, is there to provide that path of how you can both have a global, moderate outlook in life, and a society that reflects that, while also being deeply grounded in divine meaning and purpose. That was always the purpose of the Jewish people. And America is the best example of a society outside of Israel and the Jewish people modeled on those Torah values. The founders were explicit about that. So it's important that we understand that, whilst also understanding the deep corruption within the ideology that governs the Iranian and many other regimes. And we actually made a documentary on our streaming platform JTV Plus called Iran's Holy War, Unmasking the Theology Driving the Regime. Fascinating insights into what's really going on, why they really are so obsessed with Israel and America, and what is the theology and way of thinking and worldview, how they think history is going to unfold. What is it that's driving them? Here's the trailer for that documentary, and if you want to watch the full thing, simply click the link below in the video description. The Islamic Republic of Iran. For over 4 decades, its leaders have stood defiantly, their voices thundering through Tehran's streets, chanting death to Israel and waging a relentless war on the West. But what fuels this fierce, unyielding hatred? Is it politics? A grab for regional power? Or something even more profound? A theology that casts Israel and the West as cosmic enemies in a divine battle for the end of days. In this JTV Plus documentary, we embark on a journey to unravel the apocalyptic beliefs at the core of Iran's revolution. We'll uncover the sacred Shia doctrines that prophesy a world reborn through chaos, where a hidden redeemer, the Mahdi, will rise to vanquish evil, with Israel and America as the ultimate foes. We'll dive deep into the mystical visions of a global Islamic order, where martyrdom and jihad pave the path to divine victory. We'll explore how these ancient beliefs shape Iran's every move, from its fiery rhetoric to its deadly proxy wars. From the revolutionary sermons of Ayatollah Khomeini, who ignited a nation, to the shadow wars of spies, cyber attacks, and missiles that have pushed the region to the brink. We'll trace the arc of a regime bent on reshaping history, and we'll reveal the climactic moment when Israel struck back with Operation Rising Lion, a daring, high-stakes operation that shook the world and redefined the conflict. This is not just a story of a nation, but of a creed that seeks to rewrite the future, a conflict that threatens to engulf us all. Join us as we expose the hidden truths behind what Iran sees as its sacred mission, its unrelenting rage, and the battle for our world's destiny. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.